in life are always worth taking. Love and money is always worth making. Just grab on and hold on tight. You're in for the ride of your life.
Welcome back to the Beyond the Arc podcast. Dallas, joined by Levi. Levi, I know we've done spoken a little bit, but just tell everyone how you're doing.
Pretty good, brother. Hope you're doing well.
Yep, and just like I told you, sitting here in the frozen tundra, I think I saw the woolly mammoth from Ice Age just past my window, so doing pretty well. I guess we can kick things off by just kind of recapping what happened on Saturday against Arkansas. Would you like to lead us, or
I like when you can set the tone today. How about that?
it sounds good? I'll set the tone about like how Zakai Ziegler and Jemima Mashack set the tone. I mean, coming out of the game, it seemed like it was going to be a little bit tighter than the final score it was. You saw Arkansas, Boogie Fland, I think, hit a few threes, kind of got heated up. And then that was when Zakai and Jemima kind of said, no, we're not going to let this happen today. And clamped down. I think Tennessee went into halftime with a 10-point lead, I believe. You look at the main matchup we was talking about and how it was important for Tennessee to keep Jonas Adu off the glass and off the scoring column. They done that pretty well. Finished the game with just 5 rebounds and 4 points that he got in the second half. I felt like Jonas Adu was kind of Jonas Adu. I mean, that's kind of. I mean, I don't want to say I'm glad he's no longer on Tennessee, but that was one of the things that he showcased was what everyone was kind of frustrated with. I mean, one negative before we go too positive, I feel like if Tennessee only got 9 points from their bench, I feel like if you're going to have success in the SEC on a consistent basis, you're going to need more than 9 points from your bench. Jordan Gainey, 7 points, and Cade Phillips, 2 points. As a bench, as a total went 4 of 15, which is not going to cut it, obviously. Levi, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I believe we highlighted last week that we thought that Akpara would get the better of Jonas Adu, and he certainly did. We also, it was almost like our scouting report was, hey, that Jonas can't move his feet, so let's just attack that as many times as we can, which was kind of fun to watch. The Akpara lobs were nice to watch him just catch and finish over and over again. Chaz Lanier's going to do his thing. He's going to go get you points, but Igor Milicic, man, how does a man rebound like that? I'm not sure. I don't know if you saw the post-game interview with him and Zakai, but Zakai was like, you're 6'10", bro. And Igor was like, well, I mean, dude, you had like 10 rebounds like, what, a couple weeks ago? And Zakai was like, well, I'm 6'10", too. So that's just kind of the mentality this team brings to the court. And it's like Jimmy Dike says all the time with Zakai that he plays like he's a large guard. Chaz Lanier, though, there's just no words for it. You know, we knew we were getting a shooter. We knew we were getting a scorer. It's just he's been everything that I could have dreamed of for what this team needs. I don't think that he's 100% there on our gap defense yet, but he's going to get there. So I'm good with that. I also think it's hilarious that Calipari, I don't know if you saw his interview, decided to just go ahead and basically throw his entire team under the bus, that they didn't have a pregame shoot around because kids slept in or went to get breakfast or, you know, whatever. I can't fathom that as a coach that makes, what, $10 million a year.
Absolutely.
So, that's
I mean,
just crazy to me.
He had that quote that he said they went up there and got handled by grown men. And if you look back to the 2018, I would believe, press conference when Tennessee beat Kentucky, Calipari said the exact same thing about his team then. So It seems like he hasn't necessarily changed his views or his ways of coaching, and seems to not really take accountability for anything that is obviously is doing. I mean, it's your job to have a team ready physically and mentally, and he just doesn't do a great job at that.
I don't understand how he makes as much money as he does. I've never been a Cal fan because even in high school, I had a really good high school basketball coach, and my high school basketball coach used to say, you know, he goes and gets the best recruits and he rolls the ball out and he says, go be better. And in nowadays game, you can't just roll the ball out when you got these guys like your boy TJ Hushman Zada Otzelberger from Iowa State. Sorry, I had to do it. And you know, Rick Barnes, and then you got guys like Scott Drew, who coaches really good defensive basketball teams. And then you also have to give a shout out down at Houston, is they're always up there with Tennessee in the defensive metrics. And it just seems like nowadays, no matter if you just have the better team, you got to be able to do more than just roll the ball out and tell your guys to just go be better. It worked 10, 15 years ago, but the game's caught up as it does at all times. And I know you're a defensive guy like I am, so I'm kind of glad to see the game catching up to the defensive side of basketball and the gap defense and basically just forcing people to shoot threes. And that's just never been a Calipari special, and 6 for 29 against us sounds about right. He needs to retire. That's all I can say.
I feel like his biggest mistake was not just taking a job this year, but taking a job in the SEC. Because I mean, if you look back at the years he was successful at Kentucky, Kentucky was kind of the only team in the SEC that was consistently talented enough to hang with any team in the country. And now that the SEC has improved tremendously since those days, and the talent's there as well, he's no longer on a uneven playing field. Everyone's leveled up with him, and he can no longer just out talent folks, like you said. So I think if he would take a smaller job, it may be not even, I don't want to say smaller job. I don't want to disparage any schools in the Division One. I mean, they're all talented players on every roster, but maybe like a Big 12 job, maybe he would, or Big 10, or heck, ACC. I mean, go coach SMU, Cal. That seems perfect for you. But anyway,
I agree with that one. That's actually a great point. SMU would be a perfect job for him over in Dallas. He can be his high priority guy and walk around and do his thing. But yeah, anyways, my fault. Cut you off. Didn't mean to.
That's no problem. No problem. I was just going to say we won't need to make this the Calipari show. Let's move on.
Sorry.
It's not your fault. I kind of got sidetracked as well. Let's move on and discuss the. Unless you have anything else you want to say about the Tennessee Arkansas game.
No, we're good on that. I'm like I said, Chaz Lanier shot the ball well, which we're accustomed to at this point. At this point, if he doesn't at least hit 5 threes, I'm gonna probably question whether or not he shot enough. And I thought Para played well, and Igor Milicic just was a beast out there. So
I agree with all that. So let's move on and let's discuss Tennessee's upcoming game on Tuesday night. Probably Tennessee's most difficult, I don't want to say most difficult road test, because Illinois was a pretty good team, but by rankings, if you take the AP into account, Florida is by all means Tennessee's toughest road test to date. I feel like Florida does have the formula to beat Tennessee. They have the elite guard play and physical bigs, which seems to be the formula to beating Tennessee. Ruben Chinilu, who Tennessee was recruiting at one time, will be key for them. And then for Tennessee, I believe the key is Zakai. You know that Chaz Lanier and Zakai Ziegler are going to be keys. But I feel like the X factor will be Meshack and Igor. Meshack will be asked to guard Richard, Clayton, and probably even Martin at some point. And Igor will be challenged to continue rebounding at a high level and hitting the open shots. Levi, do you have anything you want to add?
Alex Condon, that's the X factor for this game. I mean, 6'11", big dude, shoots it well, 8 for 19 from 3 on the year so far. He's a problem, and he's the type of guy that gives us fits. I do like the fact that this year it doesn't feel as if like we're so like last year, for example, not to bring up last year as we're, prefacing this year, but it just felt like Josiah was a little too short at that 4 spot for us at times. And I really think that Igor can handle him, but they like to play Condon at the 5. And when they play Condon at the 5, I'm not sure that Okpara is skilled enough to be able to handle Condon when it comes to guarding him, because he's just a really, really good big. His offensive rebound percentage is ridiculous. He's through the roof when it comes to that. And he's just a really, really good player. I think he's the X factor, to be honest. And that's not talking about Tennessee's X factors, which I'm going to get to in just a second. But when it comes to Florida, for me, we got to figure out a way to stop Alex Condon, in my opinion. Obviously, they have Walter Clayton. Everybody knows Walter Clayton. He can score. He can shoot. We'll be fine against him, I believe, because we'll have Jemai Meshack on him. For Tennessee's X factors, I think it's going to come down to whether or not Zakai Ziegler can hit some shots. Can he navigate the offense against a bigger team? There's nobody on this team that plays that's under 6'2", 6'3". So they play a huge lineup, and I really respect what Golden's done on the court. Would like to preface that, and I think that overall that it's gonna be a dogfight. I think it could be a game of the year type potential down there, just because of just the atmosphere they bring and being number one. The students are going to show up because they're going to want to rush the court. So I guess we'll just have to find out where it goes, Dallas. I don't really have a prediction for this game, and neither does really anybody. Everything's just a
No.
pick 'em.
Yeah.
Like everything's like within 1 point either way. So
Yeah, I was going to say Hazometrics favors Florida 72-71, and Bart Torvik favors UT by 1 as well. I think they had 71-70. So it pretty much is a toss-up. I mean, betting-wise, for just a moment, Tennessee is actually the underdog for the plus time. For the first time, you can actually get plus money on Tennessee betting-wise. Igor, I feel like, is going to be key on Condon. And then if they do want to play Condon at the 5, you can move Igor down to the 5, and depending on who they play at the 4, Meshack can probably guard them as well. So I feel like Tennessee may go a little bit smaller for a portion of the game. And you mentioned Todd Golden. Yeah, you said you just respect his on-court prowess. Let me just got to ask real quick, how do you feel about his off-the-court prowess?
I, as I said, I had heard some rumors that he wouldn't make it to SEC play.
So you just want to say you disavow anything he does off the court?
I don't think that it's ideal. I'll say that. I would prefer me a Rick Barnes. How about that?
I
He can
think
recruit. I'll give him that. Hey, I want to see this big 7'9" guy or whatever they have. Like, give him some minutes against us. You seen that guy?
yeah, Olivier Relax, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. He's
Yeah.
French, I think, maybe.
Massive, man.
7'9". 7'9". I mean, I think that would put what's Wimby 7'6".
Yeah, Wimby's 7'6", so he can't move like Wimby does. I'll tell you that.
No, I've
You've seen the
seen
video, right, of him
yeah,
shooting
like
the layups and he misses the first one.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
definitely.
How do you miss a layup when you don't even have to jump?
Definitely a project there. But you mentioned Zakai's shooting. Absolutely. I mean, I feel like Zakai's going to have to not necessarily knock down guarded shots, but if he's open, he's going to have to take them. And Tennessee's going to have to hope that he makes at least 40% of them. I mean, like we said before, and everyone knows 40% from 3 is pretty much what you would like to shoot, especially if you're a guard. Do you have anything else you want to add on Florida before we move on?
Other than just the fact that this is probably going to be a toss-up game, I don't really have much to add, but I would like to say that I think Tennessee's tough enough, and I don't think Florida's seen anybody as tough as Tennessee this year. They've played a couple teams that are quote unquote tough, but I don't think, I mean, that they can necessarily match our physicality. So I really do like us to go down there and maybe put on a little bit of a clinic. But as you know, when you go on the road, the whistle's a little tighter. My only worry, Dallas, is that we get a couple guys into foul trouble, and with our thin bench, and D Stone's got to figure it out. We need him. If this team is going to be what it should be in the long run, then we need D Stone to figure it out. And maybe he can figure it out tomorrow night, because I have a feeling that we're going to get 1 or 2 guys in foul trouble, just like we did when we went to Illinois. When you get a crazy crowd and a coach that likes to get onto the refs and stuff like that, you're going to get these games to where you're going to have to end up putting guys in the game that likely don't play heavy minutes for you most of the time. So my one thought is about this game is I believe we're going to get into some foul trouble, and we need D Stone and maybe possibly Boswell to come in and give us some good minutes.
Let me ask you, if Tennessee holds Florida to 80, around the 80s, do you think they win?
No.
What about 70?
Do not. 70, yeah. I think we win.
I agree.
If Tennessee can keep Florida under 80 points, I like our chances. My problem is I think this could end up, they just might erupt. And you know how it is. We've played ball. We know how it goes. From time to time, the other team just doesn't miss, which I thought was going to happen against Arkansas at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Saturday,
I will say I don't think this game will be played in the hundreds like Florida's last game against Kentucky was.
Kentucky couldn't defend my memo, and she's 6 feet under. So
That Kentucky just, I don't know. I mean, the offense, obviously, Mark Pope has done a decent job with the offense, but defensively, it's tough to watch at times, especially with a few odd defensive players on the team. I mean, Lamont Butler, he's a pretty good defender, and it just seems like it doesn't really matter. But don't want to devolve this into talking Kentucky. They'll have
well,
their
hold on. The Kentucky fans have told me that Butler's a better defender than Meshack and Ziegler combined. So is that wrong?
well, Kentucky fans also believe that it is the year 2012 and they're going to win a national championship. So yeah, it's wrong.
Okay. Okay. I was just making sure.
Yeah, I mean, hey, a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while, so maybe they're right, but I don't think they are.
I don't like that one.
I'm just trying to be cordial here, try to be as diplomatic as possible. All right,
All right.
moving on to our hardly known Hoopers. Levi, I'm gonna let you go first this time.
I got a good one. I got a good one. I got
Shoot.
I got Nick Dorn from Elon shooting 40% from three, filling it up. He's basically he's a do-it-all guy for them. Sophomore. Uh, just a ball handler, a four if they need him to be. He's just a really, really good, solid basketball player. Honestly, wouldn't mind if he ended up at Tennessee next year. I think we say that every time that we bring these up, but there's just certain guys that I watch play, and I watched this Elon game the other night. I was like, who is this guy? Why does he look so much better than everybody else on the floor? And they were playing Hampton, which is kind of funny. He used to visit up there quite often, but I was just watching this guy play, and I was like, no, there's no way. He kind of reminds me of the big man that went from Yale to Michigan this past year, but he's 6'7", not 6'8", 6'9" ish, but he's a little shorter. But he'll bring it up the court. He'll shoot the three. He doesn't pass the ball well. I'll give him that. He likes to throw it away a little bit, but he can definitely fill it up, and he's their go-to guy. So if you ever get to check out Elon, check them out. I honestly think that they're going to win the CAA this year, which I love me some mid-major ball. I'm not sure how big you are on mid-major ball.
Oh,
I
I
feel like
love
you're
it.
kind of like me, and you're willing to just kind of check them all out. So if you check out some CAA this year, check out Elon and check out Nick Dorn, because the guy can play. He's a baller.
Do you watch any of the Next Chapter on YouTube?
From time to time, if when I have time, but I don't get a whole
Yeah,
lot of time.
I
So
was
I
just gonna.
promote most of my free time to you, Dallas. So
But I was just gonna say, yeah, the Next Chapter, it's a pretty cool platform if anyone wants to check it out on YouTube. They got some professional talent on there sometimes. Actually, James Daniel from played at Tennessee is on there right now for season 1 of chapter 2, and they have a pay-per-view coming up that I'm thinking about buying, which pay-per-view basketball game. I'm not so sure how I feel about that, but oh well. Anyway, before I get too far and get the exit that you want to call it that we shouldn't hit, I'm gonna go on to my hardly known Hooper, and it's a local guy. At least for me, it is a local guy. Devontae Blanton plays for Eastern Kentucky
yes,
University.
sir.
He is,
KU.
yes, averaging 16.7 points per game, 6.3 rebounds, 3.6 assists, 55.4% from the field. Recently had a 22-point outing at Louisville. I watched that Louisville game, and the commentators made a point that he's got that old YMCA game, and I absolutely 100% agree. There's not many types of players I like watching more than guys with the YMCA type of game that get to the mid range, and it's just I may be against a player more athletic than them, more talented, and it just doesn't matter. They're going to get their shot off, and it's going to fall. Also, I'm going to shout out on the same team, Jackson Holt. He had 15 against Louisville. Seems to be a pretty talented player himself. So, are you ready to move on, Levi, to everyone's favorite segment, our NCAA pick'em?
I mean, since you rigged the beginning, what's my record?
Well, I'm going to be posting the record as soon as we get off here. The current record is, I believe, I'm 8-8, and you, Levi, are 9-7.
Wait, I'm in the lead.
Yep, you took the lead. You went 4-0.
See what happens when you don't rig it, Dallas. This is what happens, man.
I
No,
feel
I'm
good
just
about
kidding.
this. I feel good about this week.
Yeah, no, you you don't ever let me know the pick'ems ever at all. But this week I feel like you hit me with the ones that you already knew. I feel like you knew the answers to. You talked to the boys over in the desert a little bit to figure it out. So we'll see how it goes this week.
I'm going to start posting the screenshots online. All right, let's start out with Texas A&M at Oklahoma. I took Oklahoma to bounce back from their recent loss to Alabama. Levi, who do you have?
I am not gonna lie. I love A&M in this game. This is a Buzz Williams type game. If you're gonna try to slow them down, good luck. So I've seen it too many times when the Vols play them. I don't like it, and I'm sure old Porter Mosier is not gonna like it himself. So I like A&M.
Just a side note, I absolutely love Buzz Williams as a coach. But
Love the guy. Ever
yeah,
since his Marquette days, I've always been a huge Buzz guy, and I look, man, if we could write a blank check, I'd bring him in as soon as Barnes retired, but obviously that's not going to happen. So
no. All right, moving on. We got another A&M game. We have Alabama at A&M. I took A&M, mostly home court advantage. It's hard to win on the road in the SEC, so I'm riding with the Aggies.
I like Alabama. If you want to go fast, Buzz's teams struggle sometimes. So I'll take Alabama to hit a few shots and likely win that game.
All right. And now moving on, we have Kentucky at Mississippi State. I took the Bulldogs. I'm a big fan of Chris Jans. Recently picking against Kentucky has hurt me, but I'm going to trust the dentist to pull this one out. No pun intended.
Not yeah, no, I don't bet against the hump, man. The hump is the hump for a reason. I feel like anytime I ever watch any team go to the hump, it's a mess. So I am taking Mississippi State. And honestly, Dallas, maybe you can give me an extra win here. Give me a 0.5, but I'm taking Mississippi State by 20 plus.
Wow. Okay. I'll put that down.
Give me an extra point there.
You got it. All right. Moving on to the only non-SEC game of the slate, which I feel like it's becoming a norm that I'm picking three SEC games and one non-SEC game, but let's roll with it. I've got Oregon at Penn State and the home of Freddie DeLeon, former Tennessee Vol. I took the Ducks mostly because Illinois went on the road, beat Oregon, and we need that Illinois win to continue to look as great as possible. Penn State's pretty tough, man. I'm not going to lie, but Dana Altman's a pretty good coach himself. I'm taking the Ducks to get the win in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I'm going to take Oregon. Indiana's not a very good team, and they just went and beat Penn State at Penn State. So I have no reason to think. And I don't know if you saw the score last night or it may have been a couple nights ago or last night. Either way, doesn't matter the day. But Illinois went on the road all the way out to Washington and had a real close one. So
I did say that.
The Big Ten to me is just a mess because I mean, traveling from Knoxville to College Station in Texas, man, and traveling from Knoxville to wherever the heck Texas is located, I don't give a crap because horns down, but it's not the same as having to travel from like Rutgers in New Jersey all the way out to Los Angeles. So they really, in my opinion, for basketball, it's going to be the Big Ten's going to be a mess this year because you're going to have teams that play back to backs and all kinds of stuff. And I guess teams have tried to schedule to where they play like USC and UCLA back to back and stuff if they have to travel that far. But I don't understand how the committee's even going to be able to look at some of these games because you're going to have certain teams that fly out all the way out west like that and then have to play a Tuesday game and then a Saturday game, and they're going to be stuck out on the West Coast. And I just don't like it for the sport of basketball at all. I understand for football, you fly out, you're there for 2 or 3 days, play a football game, you fly back. But for basketball, it's too much travel on these teams. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. I hope the TV money's good enough, but I really don't like it, to be quite fair. So
I agree, but Yeah, Freddie DeLeon. I don't know if you've seen what he's been doing over at Penn State. I know I sent you that huge dunk he had the other night in transition, but he's averaging 10 points, shooting 46% from the field. Is kind of struggling from three in the free throw line. Weirdly enough, 27% from three and 57% from the free throw line. But I mean, with Tennessee's depth issues, it wouldn't have hurt it to have Freddie DeLeon on this year's squad.
I also would like to a little love for the Lady Balls, man. They were down huge,
Absolutely.
gave a massive, massive comeback. I legit stopped paying attention because it was a 19-point game. And then I heard them yelling on my TV that it's a 1-point game. And I was like, oh, crap. So I went back in to watch. And then, sorry, Sarah Puckett. Great look. And people all over Twitter were panicking. Why would you shoot a three there? It's like, well, they wanted us to. I mean, it is what we hit, 6 out of 30 yesterday. So,
Yeah.
not that big of a deal.
We'll end it here and we'll see y'all next time on the Beyond the Arc podcast.